Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is starting off their week with optimism. Today, I want to go over and review the IsraelTech platform founded by Yoel Israel. Basically, I want to give my opinion on the platform and talk about what we can learn from it, what maybe how it can maybe improve, and just take it from there. So the platform is founded, as I said, by Yoel Israel. Disclaimer: Yoel is a friend, but I am reviewing this with complete honesty. And I told him I'm going to review this, and that I'm just going to say my true opinion. So Yoel is a very talented entrepreneur. Lots of energy, very smart, very high IQ. He's an avid he's an avid he loves basically lots of like political commentary and kind of like the new media. He's been big on that for a long time, so I think he's bringing a lot of that into the Israel Tech platform. I know he follows like a lot of people like Jordan Peterson and Patrick Bet David and those type of people, and I'm sure he's learning a lot from what they're doing and he's replicating it into the Israel Tech platform. And he leads Wadi, which is like a big advertising agency and SEO. I think they also do several other things, but I'm not sure. So what is Israel Tech? So Israel Tech, what they do is they do like tons of like interviews. They cover the Israeli tech ecosystem, right? So they do lots of interviews with like founders and VCs and kind of like just like panels and those kind of stuff. And I think their main distribution is LinkedIn, because if you go to their website, you can see that they're social media first. So, and this is something interesting that I think Yoel has done, which is he decided, and I think he told me that, but if not, I heard him say it somewhere. So basically, he said, okay, listen, people are consuming media through the socials. So instead of having like a concrete website where like we're gonna send traffic to it, we're going to have everyone consume the Israel Tech content in their native habitats. So you have TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, obviously X, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And I think it's a great play in terms of distribution because, anyways, like media outlets, like even the media outlets that we own, like everything has to be social media distribution first. That's where things are going. That's where things are. People consume content on socials. You're consuming this video on socials. So I think that's a strong thing that he did, where he's like, they're social first, and I give him credit for that. I think it's working well, and it's obviously working really well because, listen, on LinkedIn, their company page, they're already having 8,000 followers, and they're just operating this in 1 year, so it's very very impressive, very impressive. However, um, let's talk about the business model for a sec. So I think that Yoel is probably using lots of his profits from Wadi to run this operation, because look, they have a big team here. He hired like a CMO. He hired like a social media editor, manager, some other folks that I'm not sure what they're actually doing. Probably some interns here, but he's like really operating this from his pocket, because he's bootstrapped. Wadi's very successful, so I'm sure he's using some of those profits to run this machine. But then he's a savvy businessman, and I'm sure he wants to profit from Israel Tech as well, or at least like break even. Or I think he wants to profit of this eventually. I mean, that's the goal of every business, to profit from the business, right? Especially if you're 100% owner of that business. Well, another thing you can basically say is that he's the leverage that he's getting from this platform gets him more clients for Wadi, which is a really strong play by itself. But I also think there's potential to make a profit out of Israel Tech, to be honest. So I know that what they're doing is they're starting, I think Yoel posted about this today. They're starting to go to events, and they're maybe getting paid to interview people in the event, or like to promote the event, all of that thing. And that I think that's a great business model. I think that's a great revenue stream for a more kind of like um kind of like a more holistic business model, because I don't think he could only use the events as the main the events like thing as the main revenue stream. I think that should be one revenue stream, and then probably um he they need to add some more. So like I'm not sure what they do on that retrospect, but like for example, like when if we look in their LinkedIn posts, um we can see that they have like this kind of like overview of what's going on this week in the industry, blah blah blah, and then they do the oh here we go. So he's like, so Ignite Deep Tech. They hired IsraelTech to film their deep tech founders. So essentially, this is kind of like a production company. So they're making revenue as a production company, and I think that even I think like okay, let's say cyber strategy, like uh, you know, I'm not sure if they also do sponsored interviews. Like if like a PR firm can basically get like a one of their clients interviewed by Israel Tech and their distribution, and then basically kind of and then basically Israel Tech gets paid for that. I'm not sure they do that on an individual basis. If they don't, I would advise them to do so, because I think that could be a good revenue stream for them, especially now where they already have 8,000 followers, and it does seem like they're getting more and more eyeballs on their content, which is essentially a good leeway to kind of sell media spots across the board. So I think VCs could hire them to interview founders. I think I think founders can, like, I think even brands can approach them directly and start getting interviewed them, and they need to do that obviously without looking too salesy, because people, because I guess they still want to look like a like a media outlet that has also objective content out there. Um, yeah. Another thing that I would say, and I'm really careful with that I'm saying, because I didn't consume all their content, so I don't have the full kind of retrospect. But I do think most of their content is really positive, which is wonderful. Like we all want that, and they're like really hyping up the system. But I would be interested to see if they can also kind of like do content that is more kind of like objective in tone, and more of kind of like deep diving, and more of a getting like actual numbers, like ARR numbers, etc., similar to like what Nathan Latka is doing with his podcast show. I think that's just cool because it really gives a deeper sense. So okay, so to kind of yeah, I know I kind of rambled on here, but to kind of conclude what I think I'm bullish on Israel Tech. I'm bullish. I think if Yoel is able to own the events category and basically be like Israel Tech, the main provider on all tech events in Israel, where everyone will basically hire them to record an interview and be part of the event and distribute the content. I think that is great. The second part is, I think if their team and Yoel are able to also in some sort of fashion make revenue through sponsored content through individual brands, I think that can be another great layer. And the third thing is that I'm bullish on this because I'm bullish for what Yoel's company Wadi is getting out of this, right? So remember, he has an advertising agency, and this is a strong media own play, because everybody he's interviewing, the VCs and all those people and the founders, they're more likelihood to later work with his other companies, right? So I think I'm very bullish on this strategy. I think Yoel is doing a great job. Um, and yeah, he should definitely continue in that on that momentum. So awesome, guys. Thank you for like listening to this, and more videos to come. Let's go.